Well, good afternoon. And people talk about what am I doing this day? Well, this day I wanted to talk about something that had to do with, the type of life that people live. And it's not a bad life whatsoever. It's called a sponsored life. And those that have sponsors, they have the condition of being enabled to live their life for the occupation that they have. And they then choose to live their life the way they do for the sponsor income that they actually happen to have. So some people had known the condition that sometimes a company would sponsor someone to live a life and the one would be asked to promote then the thing that the company had in their promotion. It might be a product, it might be some kind of a statement that they make about living life that the company would want them to promote. It wouldn't be anything. It would be illegal. Companies aren't asking people to be promoting illegal things. And so the first time I'd ever seen the idea of a sponsor by an individual was I was actually going to play some golf at a public golf course inside a city many years ago in Walnut Creek, California, as it was. And I saw on the door to the pro shop a golfer that wanted to play some golf on tour. And he was asking for sponsors to sponsor his name so that he could go on tour and play some golf. And there's nothing illegal about that. Advertising for people to sponsor was let to occur by the professional at the course there, and the individual then gained or didn't gain, I don't know, whatever did happen, some sponsorship cash, just gifts to the one so that the one could be on tour. Accepting gift money is not an illegal thing to do in the United States of America, to have the one live the life that they have a liking to live. And so we talk about then the moral of the church that I actually attend. And some people say the congregation of people is the church itself, whatever congregation it happens to be. And I do attend a particular congregation. And in that congregation, then the people are said to have a severe reliant condition and moral. And one of those reliant conditions and moral happens to be a modest life. We live in very modest housing for the thing that we have. It's nothing extravagant. We do like it to be as safe maybe as we can afford, and it's said to be a modest condition and cost that we have in the housing that's provided in our life. It's not given to us. We have income that we receive, and then the housing is what it is. Now, some people would say that the people had already decided what was modest and true and proper in my life for the disability payments that I receive, and then my life in housing and food and clothing and the thing that I'm enabled to do simply from my disability income is what the society had already stated was plenty good enough for myself, unless some emergency came up and I needed some medical care beyond my particular so-called 6-month visit to the general physician and things like that. I have medical insurance for that provided by the government, and so for almost all instances in my own condition in life, the cash I receive is enough to live a life for the amount in disability that I have. So when we talk about people that are more disabled than myself, the amount of cash that I receive would not necessarily provide them kind of the minimum quality in life. And then effort is given to people to have that minimum quality in life occur. So I was living in an apartment, just in an instance, in the condition many years ago, and there's an individual in a wheelchair, and either he had to get, or someone else had built a ramp for him out of a tree part, so that he could get up the differential from the parking lot to the front door of his residence the best that he could. But he wasn't physically enabled enough to do so. And so he was in the parking lot, and he said, "Can I get some help to get up the ramp and get into my apartment?" I said, "Sure, I'll help you do that." That was a charity minute or two out of my life to help the one in a wheelchair get up his apartment ramp and get down into his residence. Well, I never asked him for any funding because of it, but it was something that I did because it was not a difficult thing for me to help someone to do that particular day, and the one needed some help from someone, so he didn't have to be so-called stuck in the parking lot. And that kind of assistance then is kind of a little thing that ones can do, and it is a charity time that's provided. Some people know that certain particular disabled charity conditions do help the disabled much more than that. And in that way, there should be county rides that are given. They have auto carts that are specifically designed for the disabled. But some people, they might not have the income enough to use that particular quality, and to have perhaps even a life attendant with them at the time, so that they can feel safer and sounder at their condition, being on a public bus, for instance, or a county condition where they come and pick them up at their residence in a qualified van and take them to pre-qualified destination. So in that way, then, we know that that kind of funding can assist the handicapped in being enabled to receive their food from a store and let them be out some amongst other people instead of just in their residency. Some people that I've had seen were very enabled. They would push their wheelchair up a street larger than a grade 1 in hiking, and they were very enabled wheelchair people. They can go to the store and things like that. We talk about then other conditions that occur. There are other so-called networking conditions that help the disabled, and certain particular organizations occur that do help disabled people. There might be some people that might be helped by certain organizations in serve.org, for instance. And I can certainly be the individual that writes out a check to certain particular organizations that I know do specifically help disabled people. From the sponsorship that I receive from other people as a sponsored condition come to my particular account. There is the quality also that I have in my life, and I don't really advertise it, and some people say that it really shouldn't even be a condition in an informational given to the public, because there's some kind of quality that wants to state a type of protection to the organization that I happen to attend, and so I don't advertise it in a public condition. I'm actually in a charitable organization because they don't care to have my name be in association with their name in a public statement in perhaps what would be said to be a Facebook page or a Pinterest address. They just don't have a liking for me to be stating the name of the church organization that I happen to be in charitable condition. So I'm not going to state that particular statement to other people in a public way, but I do know if I receive funding, then a certain portion of that income goes to maintaining the building that happens to be the church building that I attend, and that funding then would be provided by a portion in the donation that's given to me in sponsorship to the disabled. In that way, the church itself, it does have the quality that disabled people can go there, and they're welcome in the building when the door open to the church, so that disabled people have a place to go sometime during the 7-day cycle. And some aspect in having the ones get a ride to church does occur through the charitable condition. Those that are enabled have auto carts and can take disabled people to their missionary services, to the congregation building that I attend. So that does occur also, and so we talk about then the reliant condition, the word that's supposed to be kept to one, and for that condition I don't have the statement and advertisement for the charitable organization which I have employed. So in that way then, one's just have to trust that it's so, and not be asking questions about it. But I suppose if someone did ask me a question, flat out to my face to face, do I work for a charitable organization? And I would say, yeah, I do have a correlation together, a charitable organization, other than just my own name, sponsorship for the disability that I individually happen to have. So when one's trust in things that one had stated about their thing in their life, and they find them a trustworthy individual in that way, well, that's when they feel comfortable in the process and giving some cash to their bank in what's said to be their trustworthiness. The one's going to make the proper decision in helping other people be provided for the disability that other people have in their life. In humanitarian services, that condition occurs. People are obviously in a disabled condition in their life, and when humanitarian services funding is given, and that's assisting the disabled because they don't have the quality to provide certain things in their life. It's housing sometimes, and sometimes it happens to be food, and other times it happens to be clothing, and also drinking water. And those things are the most important things sometimes in people's lives, and the ASAP need and their disability one day and another for a hazard event that had occurred in the region. So some people, they don't say that that's really the true definition of disability, but it certainly is a definition in disability. I have been one that was known to provide funding to humanitarian services so that the ones that were disabled and did not have food, clothing, and a building in which to live and drinking water, you could be providing those things in their disabled condition because of a hazard that had occurred in their region. So if you trust the reliant condition, and some people say, well, that's either you do or you don't. But if you do trust the one's reliant condition, and then you don't have a problem if you can afford it, and you've got plenty of cash, and you like the individual and the thing that he says, then go ahead and donate cash, sponsor his condition so that he can help people in their disability. And that's what this particular video introduction is about sponsoring individual to help other people in their life in his own discretionary condition, so they know that they have the trust of the particular individual and don't have to make that decision themselves. So that sponsor condition stated, another record by Squeaky Clean.